Well, most of us don't know a lot about cars, so when something goes wrong, it's really hard to know where to turn for help. So where can you get advice without heading to the shop?
Right here on The Blend, Mike.
Yes, you can.
Yes, we are so lucky to have a pro in the studio every other week to answer your car questions.
And you know him by now, right?
Yeah.
Peter Fink of Certified Transmission. Good to see you, Peter.
Wow, what a build-up. I don't know about a pro and everything else.
I wrote that. I'm building you up.
Cars today anymore are really, really technical. It's hard.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost like you have to be a computer technician as well.
Oh my gosh, and without a doubt. I mean, today's cars got so many things on it, and you got to have a scanner to plug in to talk to it to see what's going on.
Right.
It ain't like the old 60s and 70s where you can go out, kick the tire, and listen to it and say, oh, I know what's wrong with it, without a doubt. So
yeah, it's complicated.
Well, let's get to this first question because Dave is up first, and Dave writes in, he says, my check coolant light on my 2002 Cadillac DeVille stays on, but the coolant is not low. How can this be fixed?
Well, this is a little bit weird, okay, because obviously if the light's coming on and saying you got a low coolant, okay, we either have a sensor that isn't reading right, okay, or one of the two, we're not looking at the thing properly, okay. When the car's cooled down, first thing we need to do is pop the radiator cap, make sure it's full. Second, today's systems are closed and they have an overflow reservoir tank that you put antifreeze or water in, okay, usually a mixture, okay, they sell a mixture at the parts stores, a 50-50, that you don't have to mix it yourself anymore. And either maybe that hose is bad or restricted, okay, I would have to think the level is down below and reading on the sensor. If it isn't, if it is full, then we need to start doing some testing, okay? I mean, we got to see if it, unplug it, and we got to see if the reading is going back to the computer. Unfortunately, this Cadillac reads a computer, okay? Or the sensor itself is bad. Could have a bad wire that happens to be shorted, okay, that's rubbed through. It's a little bit older car, so it's surely a possibility, okay, and stuff. Need to do a little checking here, okay, and stuff to see what's going on. Some of it I think you're capable of. Some of it, if you can't figure it out, you're going to have to get it to the shop, and it shouldn't be that bad a deal.
It sounds like a gauge
fix
issue, something with that.
You know,
it's not
it
a problem
could
with
be,
the levels.
but that typically on the Cadillac, it wasn't the gauge deal,
Yeah,
okay? And I think they said this was a light, okay? So possibly, okay, so.
All right, well, Evelyn has a question I think we could all relate to, at least last week. It has been so hot. Can the heat hurt my car? I don't have a garage, so it's always outside. Mine's the same way.
Well, you know what? That's a great question. Unfortunately, cars do not like the heat, and they do not like the cold, okay? I mean, standard temperature is something like 69 degrees, and they say at that temperature, nothing breaks, okay? Well, I don't know if it ever stays at quite 69 degrees, okay? But that's where things are tested at, okay, and stuff. But do you have a choice? No, okay? I mean, you know, it's like heating and air conditioning. Cars do break when it's extremely hot, extremely cold. If you don't have a garage, you don't really have a choice. It's not good on it. You know, anytime you can park under a tree, of course, then you might have to deal with birds, okay, and stuff, you know. But I mean, you know, cars are kind of used to it. It's just not ideal. You really don't have a choice. Just make sure the cooling system's working good, kind of back to that other
question
a
little bit. More often, do you think? If
you know, it isn't really going to help. As long as you stay up on your regular services like you're supposed to, mileage or time, okay, you should be good. You know, it's really harder on the paint and the interior and everything with the sun baking it and stuff. It really isn't that hard on the engine and stuff other than when you're driving it, okay? Sitting in the sun don't hurt those as much, but it hurts the paint and the interior when it's getting hot.
So, makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's get to this last question. This one's from Kevin, and Kevin wants to know, I just bought a 2001 Honda Civic, and after it rains, I noticed the floor is wet on the driver's side. I can't figure out where it's coming in. What should I do about this?
Well, we have a couple possibilities. Again, a little bit of an older car. On an older car, you're going to usually get some rust, okay? One of a couple things are coming to mind, okay? If this car has no rust, okay, we've got a number of cars have problems with how they drain water from the roof and the cowl, and it can leak inside the car and get on your floorboard, okay? We see this quite often on a number of cars, okay? And it isn't necessarily a Honda, it could be a Ford, a GM, or whatever. You might check on the internet to see if there's some recall not a recall, that's the wrong word, but see if people have been complaining about it. The other thing that we see, again, since this is an older car and we live in Omaha, Nebraska with salt and ice, okay, in the wintertime, believe it or not, the floorboards start rusting out and the water will get in there. We have a lot of our S10 pickup trucks. Now, our S10 trucks average anywhere from 500,000 miles to 1,000,000 miles on them. They're old, okay, and stuff, but we're in the business of servicing them and we keep them running. And so the bodies go away. And actually, we've had several of them with the floorboards rusted out and the floorboards wet. Okay,
we got to pull the mat up to make sure you can see that.
And actually, it's time to go to a body shop, and you know what? A lot of times that's pretty entailed to fix. Okay, so probably not a good solution if it's the floorboard. Okay, but hopefully it's one of those rain gutters or something like this that isn't working right. Like I said, if you can't figure it out, I'm sure a body shop can. That's what they specialize in. Okay, it needs to be looked at.
Right. Okay.
Get it checked out. Well, you can check it out at a number of locations. You don't really check those things out. You deal with only transmissions, and there's 5 area locations, certifiedtransmission.com. Peter, thanks for your time today.
Thank you.
Well, your question could be featured during our next visit with the crew from Certified Transmission. A few ways to get those questions is to email us at talkback@omahamorningblend.com or leave questions on our Facebook wall, thehub, omahamorningblend.com.